Good morning. Thanks for starting your day with us. I'm Georgia Roman. Tim Rock is here keeping an eye on the roads for you.
Meteorologist Julie Marquez has a look at your weather. I'm Roy DeJesus. This is your Spectrum News in 90. Florida state leaders are ready to send help to California. Areas north of Los Angeles are dealing with multiple wildfires right now. Most of them are still not contained. Those fires have destroyed thousands of structures and caused more than 100,000 evacuations. State Fire Marshal Jimmy Petronas says he's ready to send firefighters and mental health resources.
It is a national day of mourning for former President Jimmy Carter. His funeral services will be held in a few hours from now after his casket is taken from the Capitol Rotunda to the National Cathedral. You're taking a live look right now as people pay their final respects there at the Rotunda. The stock market, U.S. Postal Service, Supreme Court, and government offices will be closed to honor the 39th president. The last national day of mourning was in December 2018 to honor the late former President George H.W. Bush.
Organizers with cold weather shelter in Citrus County say they're expecting to stay open tonight, but they're asking for more supplies to help people stay warm. The Nature Coast Church ran out of supplies overnight on Tuesday, and they spent Wednesday stocking back up.
And this has been a little tough for us here in the Bay Area because typically we'll have, 1 or 2 days, but this has kind of been a stretch here.
It has. And, last week we talked about the cold air and how there was more coming, and that's what we've been dealing with the last couple of mornings. So, yes, this morning, freezing conditions. Citrus County, parts of Hernando County. A frost advisory was extended southward to eastern Hillsborough and even Polk counties this morning. And yes, we're still talking about a wind chill too. It feels like it's freezing in Lakeland, and it feels like it's in the 30s for most of the Bay Area. So the kids need to bundle up a couple of layers this morning as temperatures continue to drop until 8 o'clock. It's about 51 at noon with a high of just 58 degrees, but tomorrow will be warmer. I'll have your Friday forecast just ahead. Traffic's building right now. I-4, one of those spots, and Tim is here with an update for us. Good morning.
Good morning, Julia. If you're worried about the cold, well, I got some traffic for you. Maybe make you feel better. Here's a live look at I-4 and 275. Got our typical delays starting to build up there at 6:02. We did have a minor fender bender or breakdown. Something happened just a little bit ago, but that driver pulled off to the side. So thankfully, no lanes are blocked. Let's go to FDOT2 and see how things are looking on 275 heading towards I-4. Same thing here, starting to build up on the southbound side. Let's go to our maps, get a big picture look of Tampa. So far, we're hanging in there. No major delays yet. You can see there by the interchange, like I just showed you, it's starting to slow down. But the Veterans is looking good. 75 looking good for now. And we'll have an update on I-4 out east for you coming up in just a few minutes.
Continuing our coverage now of the wildfires in Florida. New this morning, Florida Red Cross volunteers are flying out from Orlando to help people impacted there in Southern California. And this is a look at what those volunteers are going to be seeing when they get there. So much destruction.
We have just awful, dramatic video there. Outside of Los Angeles, at least 5 people have died and thousands of structures have been damaged or destroyed. Florida State Fire Marshal Jimmy Petronas says he's ready to send firefighters and mental health resources if necessary.
In some cases, it's the first responders who have lost their home. So they've got to get their own affairs in order. So we come out and we'll pitch it, and we will be providing those same type of services that unfortunately they are overwhelmed that they can't do.
Leaders out in California say those fires remain mostly uncontained. The newest to break out is the Sunset Fire in the Hollywood Hills area of Los Angeles.
So as of this morning, wind speeds have eased up there. So that's helping helicopters be able to get up in the air and try to contain these fires. They weren't able to do that before because the wind speeds were so high. We know schools in the Los Angeles School District are closed today. That's the country's second largest district. 2 schools in the Palisades region burned to the ground. Reporters with our Spectrum News station out in LA spoke to people who are watching all of this destruction happen.
I just heard helicopters and sirens outside. I really wasn't expecting it to be the fire because I always hear sirens right here. So I don't know. I walked to the front door and I went outside and I seen everybody running back and forth, and I looked to my left and just seen a fire.
Have you ever seen anything like this in Hollywood?
No, nothing like this. I never think something like that would happen over here in this area.
Now, President Joe Biden has canceled his trip to Italy because all of this is happening in California. He recently approved a major disaster declaration for the state.
Today is the National Day of Mourning for former President Jimmy Carter. His state funeral services are happening today at the U.S. Capitol.
Carter is currently lying in state in the Capitol Rotunda. I want to show you a live look inside the building right now, where you can see people paying their final respects. In a few hours, Carter's remains will be moved in a ceremony that starts at 9 to the National Cathedral. His state funeral services will begin at 10. And we are going to bring you those services live here throughout the morning. Last night, President-elect Donald Trump and incoming First Lady Melania Trump paid their respects to the former president. Carter passed away at 100 years old last month, leaving behind a legacy of humanitarian work around the world. And we've been telling you about Carter's impact here in the Bay Area. Yesterday, you heard from a former St. Pete mayor sharing his experience with the former president. And today, we want to head across the bay to Tampa.
That's where we find Spectrum Bay News 9's Jason Lanning. Good morning, Jason. You spoke with former Tampa Mayor Bob Buckhorn. How will he remember the 39th president?
Roy and Georgia, short of ever meeting President Carter, former Tampa Mayor Bob Buckhorn says he shared a life milestone with him. Buckhorn's very first vote as an 18-year-old was for Carter. Buckhorn says that was all the way back in 1976 when Carter narrowly defeated Republican Gerald Ford. Carter's presidency faced numerous challenges and ended after one term, but Buckhorn says it's his life after the White House that not just defined Jimmy Carter as a former president, but also set a precedent no former president has matched.
He was an amazing guy once he left the White House. Now that doesn't overshadow all of his accomplishments, but he became a global citizen, a global leader, somebody who did public service for the right reasons, not to make money, not to enrich themselves, not to sell books or give speeches, but to try and improve humanity, and he certainly did that.
And that is the man Buckhorn will remember today. After services in Washington, D.C., former President Carter's body will be flown to Georgia, where he will be laid to rest during a private service just after 5 this afternoon. We're live in Tampa this morning. Jason Lanning, Spectrum News.
Thank you, Jason. Again, we'll have live coverage of Jimmy Carter's state funeral this morning. You can join us live just before 10 a.m. as our Errol Lewis and team of journalists from around the country take us through today's services.
The cold weather trend continues today. Some Bay Area residents had to find shelter again last night.
In Citrus County, the coordinator of the Citrus County Cold Weather Shelter anticipates being open again tonight. But before they can help more people, more supplies are needed. Those with the shelter at the Nature Coast Church say they actually ran out of supplies overnight on Tuesday, and they spent Wednesday stocking back up. All sorts of items have been gathered, from non-perishable food items to bread, but there's also been a need for cots and sleeping bags.
They hear about it word of mouth, they hear about it through transit, they hear about it through, whatever social service agency, and they just show up. So the more days that we're open in a row like this, the higher the numbers get.
Now that also means they need more volunteers. They'll need them to be able to help out with serving breakfast foods, which they also need some of that as well.
Yeah, it becomes such a big mission there because these organizations are trying to provide a warm place for people to stay, and they also need to be fed. They need comfortable accommodations there, as comfortable as they can be. So if you're able to volunteer or you have extra items on hand, there are so many organizations that could use those items right now. 6:09, meteorologist Julie Marquez is back with us live this morning to tell us a bit more about what we can expect today leading into the weekend. We've got more cold temperatures we're going to have to deal with.
Yes, for today and then tomorrow morning. I think we're briefly warmer tomorrow afternoon, but right now, 44 degrees here in St. Pete. This is brought to you by Lazy Boy Furniture Galleries. We're mainly clear. A northerly wind is 12 miles per hour, so that puts that extra chill in the air. The wind chill in St. Petersburg downtown, 39. Tampa dipped down to 34, wind chill 32 right now in Lakeland. Feels like freezing parts of the Nature Coast where the temperatures continue to drop. So as the kids go to school this morning, it's no big surprise. They're going to need a jacket again. Most of us will be in the 30s to low 40s. We're going to have a beautiful sunrise. We're going to be mainly clear, but I think this afternoon we'll tap out in the upper 50s. Right now it is 30 7 degrees in Wesley, Chapel, and Lakeland. McDill, good morning, 42 degrees. Bartow, you're checking in with 44. And a closer look in Pinellas County shows we have mainly the 40s right now. So I'm looking at 44 degrees at the St. Pete Clearwater Airport, 44 Palm Harbor. But Safety Harbor, you managed to sneak down to 39 degrees this morning. Meanwhile, we have the 30s across Citrus County. Hasn't dropped to freezing yet in Lecanto, but it did yesterday, and it could again this morning. North breezes around with high pressure in place and lots of sunshine for us today. Meanwhile, we have an area of low pressure and a system that we're going to be tracking over the next couple of days. Right now, it is bringing snow and sleet and freezing rain concerns for parts of western Texas. This is going to be moving into the Dallas-Fort Worth area. They were given a lot of heads up that this was going to be coming, so a lot of people planning on just staying home there in that area. Meanwhile, all of that will be moving toward the southeast, and we'll have some rain coming toward us about tomorrow night into Saturday. So I do have a chance of rain, leaving in some smaller chances sometime Sunday into Monday, as some of the guidance suggests we may not dry out right away with Saturday morning's cold front. So I'm going to leave in a small rain chance until we can get a little bit more clarity on that over the next couple of days. But I do think we're going to have another day where temperatures stay in the 50s. It's going to be mostly sunny, so it's going to look fantastic. Tonight, cool, 42, but not quite as cold as last night, not as windy. But tomorrow the breezes pick up, but it's a southerly wind. So look at our high temperature Friday, it's 70 degrees. Then over the weekend, some rain moves in. We're going to have some extra cloud cover too, and I'll be back with more coming up at 6:19. Want to get you now to your latest traffic report with Tim. He's taking a look at some of these slow spots we've been dealing with this morning. Good morning, Tim.
It's already beginning, Julie. It's just after 6:10 in the morning. I-4 is starting to slow down. We got a live look right now for you at I-75. Just past the I-75 interchange, that traffic heading towards downtown Tampa. Already starting to look pretty slow. And let's go over to F.1, get a live look of I-4 in Plant City. Same thing here. We're at Branch Forbes Road. That westbound traffic starting to build up at this time. Let's go over to our maps, and you'll see that backup starting to form there. Right around State Road 39, Fenota-Sassa Road, and then on to Forbes Road. Other than that, though, not too bad on I-4 through Plant City yet. We know that'll change definitely by about 6:30. I-4 in Polk County looking good if you're heading westbound, especially through Lakeland into Hillsborough County, but eastbound traffic is building up already there at US 27. This report brought to you by your Suncoast Hyundai dealers. An update in Pinellas County for you coming up in my next report.